Okay. All right, calling to order the meeting of the Ad Hoc Grants Committee for September 29th, 2021. We have present Kate Brooks, Diana Fetterman, and myself, Chris Fowles. Ed, I don't believe will be joining us today, but we have a quorum, so we can keep on moving. So the meeting is being recorded, and I don't see any interested bodies for open time for the public. So we'll just keep on going for the agenda. First things first, though, we may as well do a big announcement, right? Rather than the minutes first. You've both heard, and just for public knowledge, we have not only received the park grant in the amount of $100,000, but yesterday we were awarded also, or the Council on Aging, rather, was awarded the grant from Highland Valley in the amount of, I believe it was $7,980. I don't know where we lost $20, but oh well.
It was just the way the budget was written.
I guess it was, yeah. I forget how we had put it in there, but that was it. So anyway, so that's great. And as we were talking last meeting, I don't think, we were overly confident. I'll speak for myself about the park grant. That seemed like it was probably most of the ones we've done, that was a long shot, and very, very happy that has come through. So now the real work has to begin here on these things. But yeah, I think our walkthrough must have been very convincing, Kate. Yeah, you and Dan get the credit for chewing your ear off and whatever. So that's great news. So what's got to happen now, though, is the Parks Commission has really got to get in line because there is a matching grant portion of that. I believe it was around 86,000 that they need to request from CPC, and CPC is going to be meeting, I think it's like the first Monday-ish of October. So they've got to do a quick turnaround to get before the CPC and present their request. CPC's got to vote on it and hopefully approve it. And if they approve it, then it's got to come to select board for getting on a warrant for town meeting.
You know if they are on that agenda, because I think their next meeting isn't until the end of October.
It's not. They're not there. That's my point. I don't know what they're going to do. So I know Mark is out of town, but he must have a vice chair somewhere. There is an application for CPC on the website. If you go onto the CPC page on the website, the application is not that complicated. So somebody has to fill that out from Parks and actually go to the CPC meeting and present it.
You said 10/6?
It's the first Monday, whatever Monday that is. I think usually
10/4.
10/4, yeah.
Yeah, very soon. So
did they respond at all to having received the grant?
They have it.
Who are you?
The Parks, anybody on Parks?
Yes, they all said, yes, great, thanks.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, they did. Yes, no, they acknowledged it for sure. But I know Mark is out of town for, I think, the next 10 days or so. So anyway, we'll have to maybe just do some nudging behind the scenes on that. I think it's going to be really close to push that off until a November meeting with CPC. And one of the only reasons we would probably even do a special town meeting now would be this fall rather than February, is because we have this grant and we have to have a town vote on the matching part before the end of the month, before the end of December, rather. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't even do a special town meeting before February. So, but that said, we've got to find a date to have it. We've got to find a location to have it. Right now, Norris School is closed to the public. So,
right. So we need to do it before it's snowy.
Yeah, well, but we can't do it much before. By the time we get through the whole process of getting the meeting organized and legal approvals and everything else, you're not talking before the end of November. So it's not going to be warm outdoors in Labrie Field. So I'm not sure how this is going to work yet. We just brought it up last night, and we've got to figure out when and where we could actually do this. But first, that's not your problem. That's select board's issue. But the issue really is and this isn't really our issue either. It's Parks' issue to get themselves before the CPC and present their request.
Can you find out if they could meet, if the town could meet at the church in the sanctuary? Because remember, I asked about that before. And
I can certainly ask that question. I can ask that. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I will ask.
Certainly a big space
Yeah.
and there is an elevator.
Yep, that is true. Okay, I will make that known. I've got to meet with Ed tomorrow, so I will, I'll bring that up and we can certainly find out about that. Yeah, because even in the select board room, it would be pretty small. I mean,
Yeah,
usually, we
It
might
wouldn't
have,
be big enough, no.
no, we often have 100 people, so that wouldn't fit,
Yeah.
so. Anyway, we will work on that. So anyway, I will probably contact Mark and, Dan, obviously, and just let him realize what the deadlines are here on this,
Mhm.
just to get some things going on their end. But anyway, all good news. Hopefully we can all pull it all together. So 5 for 5, guys. So congratulations and thank you so much for all your input and hard work and brain power. No, it's really, really great. So I think we're on a roll. I don't have the exact figure in my head, but it's somewhere around $430,000, I believe.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money that we brought into town here with these grants, with 5 different grants now. So that's great. And that's not counting the stuff that Diana did for Concom or the things that, John and Ian have done on their own. So that's just with this little committee.
Mhm.
So I think that's a lot to be proud of, and it just shows the the value of having some dedicated energy put toward fundraising like this. I mean, the discouragement that maybe we've had in town over the past years is totally understandable. I mean, there's always the answer of, well, there's no money to do that, and that's true in our town budgeting process, but there are funds available out there, both federal and luckily state. I mean, everything we've applied for has been state related, really. So we've been very fortunate to get what we have. So I hope we don't jinx our next one.
I was gonna say,
real
I'm
big
like,
one.
where does the Lux, the honeymoon streak
No.
end?
We still need, we're not at a year yet. We still need a little bit more honeymoon. Anyway, all right. Well, let's jump down to current business. We've got a couple of minutes to approve here. Let me see if I can find them. Oh gosh, I did find them somewhere. All right, let's try this one. I think this is it. This is from the August 18th meeting, and I'll just, is that big enough to see everybody? There we go.
Mhm.
Scroll up.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. This was a pretty simple one. I think we didn't have a whole lot really to talk about. We were just kind of waiting on various things to happen. It was before the site visit with Melissa for the Parks grant. So we were just kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to see what was going to be happening. If you want to take a second and just read through it. If I made some edits, it was very minor, hardly anything, I think, on this one.
This is the one I kind of wrote during the meeting, so
Yeah.
I'm not promising anything brilliant here. I usually go
No.
back and like update it.
No, that's okay. I think there's enough detail on this. This is fine. This was not one where we got into great level of detail. Like this was like a 30-minute, not even 25-minute meeting, I think. So anyway,
Should I make a motion?
sure. Why don't we do that?
Or do we want to do them both at the same time?
Let's do both.
We could. All right. Let me take this one down and I'll bring up the next one. Okay, this is for September 8th. And this one I did make a few small changes in. So this is September 8th meeting, and just Kate, just in the beginning, that wasn't the signs and lines grant, it's the shared streets and spaces grant for the
Sorry.
for the sidewalk. So I just changed that. And actually at the time the bidding had not begun for this. It's another story. And so we do know that the deadline is the end of December, and hopefully we'll get moving on that. So that was still out in a question mark. Council on Aging, just we noted that was due to be announced. And then this was the description of our basically visit with Melissa. And talking pretty much about possibly doing a master plan for the parks or Conant Park having a master plan done by the Parks Commissioner or a consultant or someone. And I think, Kate, this is where you had asked if having the park grant and doing a master plan could be done at the same time, and her answer was yes.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, again, where they find the money to do that, if they wanted to do that, they could see. I don't know what's going to be eligible for CPC. I mean, if CPC helps out with the match, the park grant, I don't know if they're going to be willing to also do a master plan. I have no idea. So they're going to have to figure out what's possible. But in that first year is pretty much that design phase, just to refine it. And I'm thinking calendar wise, it actually really is only about 6 months until like midsummer is kind of the design time we have to just tweak any of our costs or any of our ideas about the path and the splash pad. So that's still correct. Let's see, had the walkthrough. She did mention the electrical lines. That'll be a question as we go forward, I guess. I had mentioned that to Mark Reed, and he said that they had made the decision to put the electrical lines back up overhead rather than digging, because there didn't seem to be enough spacing to do the digging. I think with the foundation of the building and whatever else, they had looked at the idea and felt that putting them underground was not going to be feasible. So I'm not sure, but that's going to be a technical issue once we get into this, if she's really serious about having those lines underground. But that was her real main comment, besides the master plan. And then Diana said she'd been visiting parks and had a few ideas. So once we get around to that, design work, signs and lines. This was the one for the school where there might be something through Mass DOT. The principal got back to me and just said that with a brand new vice principal, I think, and school starting, she just really didn't have the time to devote to it. So unfortunately, this one went by the wayside this year, but I think we can help them out in the future on that one. Museum on Main Street. We know the story there. We just could not find space. And so we've given up on that one. And then the Community Compact IT grant. This is really where we are right now. And that is getting underway. So I'll fill you guys in on that in a few minutes. And then the Community Best Practices grant, we talked about that. And I don't know that we're going to go for that with the IT committee. I think that's going to be more from the select board and financial issues rather than IT, given the IT folks are going to go with this compact grant instead.
So
Okay.
those are two separate initiatives, right? So
Yep,
okay.
they are. Yep, they're both called Community Compact. They're run by the state, but one is the IT grant is what they're actually going to go for. Yep. And so the best practices was just to say, here's a best practice we want to work on. We're committing to do it over a 2-year period, and the state will provide us with a little bit of technical assistance to help us get it done. But last night at select board, we decided to go with a couple of ones for the finance system in town, which is equally troubled and important. So we'll give the IT grant to the tech committee and take on the other one, I think, at a different level. Okay, so that's basically it. I don't think there was anything. I did a few little tinkerings in here, like I said, but nothing too major. Does anybody need more time to look at it, or are we okay with it?
Beautiful.
I think it looks good.
Yeah, all right. Let's have a motion then to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve both sets of minutes.
I'll
Okay,
second the motion.
all right. All in favor?
I
All right, very good.
Brooks, aye.
Very good. Okay, good. So
That hazard mitigation plan, is that something that we need to have on our radar? I mean, I put that in the minutes, but then I was thinking about it because it expires this January, right?
it does, and that's actually part of what I've got on our agenda here. So let me just fill you in a little bit on the compact IT thing, and then we'll go to that, because the brick grant is really kind of the next thing that's on the horizon. The community IT folks, sorry, not the community IT folks, the IT grant subcommittee, the tech committee rather, had a meeting with a consultant called Novus Insight to take a look at some of the cybersecurity issues at Town Hall. And Kim Florick of the tech committee was involved with that. I was at the meeting as well with Ed. And as a result of that meeting, this consultant has put together a kind of a report, an outline of where some of the town vulnerabilities are related to cybersecurity and what some of the potential costing is. And so a lot of that is information that is going to be needed in the grant application for the Community Compact IT grant. And so Kim and others are starting to fill in the verbiage on the grant application, the draft grant application. This is another one where Ed has got the password and you can only do it online all at once kind of thing. So they've got to do something in Word that we'll have to do some cutting and pasting from once we get ready to put it online. But anyway, they're going to do a first stab at that. And they're meeting again, I believe on Monday, to kind of go over it and see where they are on that. And Monday is what, the 4th already?
Don't they meet tonight?
It's not posted. I don't know. It's not
Well,
posted.
maybe they canceled tonight and they moved it. So you said Monday at 6?
It's what it looks like on my town gov. So yeah, that's what I read anyway.
Okay, so technology.
Not positive on that.
Yep,
But I think
no,
they're
that makes
meeting on
sense.
I think they're meeting on Monday. So the subcommittee was going to be working on trying to fill in the blanks on some of the questions on the grant application, which, if you remember, was pretty simple, really. I mean, simple in the sense that it wasn't very long. It's around 6 or 7 main questions about, purpose and impact and those kinds of things. And where they were going to be really stuck was on the real specificity of the activities and the costing and timeline. And that's what this outside group, Novus, has helped kind of outline for them. So the long and the short of it is we have nothing to do on that right now, but I'm expecting that we would next week. So I think I'm going to have to call a meeting for next week as well, because we're going to be bumping up against that deadline. And all we will be doing is really just kind of wordsmithing, I think. And if we get it ahead of time, I'll send it out ahead of time so you all can look at it, etc. Rather
It's
than
due on the
waiting for a meeting.
15th, right?
It is, yeah. It is. And it looks like right now, based on what they were talking about at the meeting, they're going to request somewhere between the $75,000 and $85,000 amount. And so that's what they're looking at for cybersecurity, which sounds reasonable. It's similar amounts they've looked at past awards that have been done and the various categories of IT awards that have been done through this particular grant program. And cybersecurity has definitely been one that's had awards in various towns, and this seems to be a reasonable median amount to ask for. The limit is 200,000, but I think that's really stretching it for a small town like ours. And so I think they're being pretty realistic in what they're going to want to ask for. So right now we don't have anything we can do. It's incredibly technical. Kate, you sat in on part of the meeting, right, with Kim?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was driving. I was actually leaving Smith College, so I.
as she was talking about the meeting, and she had just gotten the report from Nova. So they came out, let's put it this way, they came out, I believe it was on Monday, I think. And by Friday, they had given a draft report. So they're similar in regard to Stantec, like we had. It's like Rick turned our stuff around really quickly too. So these guys seem to be very adept at looking at things quickly and making an assessment and making some recommendations. So based on that report from the consultant, they're going to be pulling together the application. So I'm going to hope that they do meet on Monday and we will have something to go with. If I'm assuming they still need our help. I mean, it's either me or Ed that's got to put it into the system, one or the other. So I definitely would want to read it first to know what I can cut out if I have to cut out something. It's not clear from the draft application that we have if we've got word or character limits. So we don't know till we get in there, unfortunately. So that's kind of what's happening there. Any questions about that? Okay. So that's the community IT one. Just back up for a second on the one, since I mentioned Stantec, I'm not quite sure what's happened with our sidewalk one. Somehow, even though it was supposed to be an expedited process, somewhere things got confused, miscommunicated, and more was happening than needed to happen, I think, in terms of review kind of like the old style construction projects that this was not intended to be. Rick from Stantec had been on leave for a little bit, and he contacted me when he got back to find out what was happening, and I directed him to Ed actually. And so things are moving now because I think it's better understood, and it's going to be a short list of vendors that still have to bid for it. So Ed told me it would be going out to bid within the day or two. So I'm hoping by the end of the week it's out for bid, and I don't know, it's got to be out. I'm hoping not more than 2 weeks, and that's even really stretching it as far as I'm concerned, but I know it's got to be out there for a certain amount of time. But that would hopefully allow us to choose somebody and get moving on it. My big fear is what Randall had said earlier is, as winter approaches, the asphalt plant closes down. So if we've got a pathway dug and we can't put the asphalt down, then we're really not going to achieve much here. So I'm not sure what's happening. So I need to better still understand how fast this can move. But just knowing what I've seen with the pickleball courts, in case you haven't been down to Conant Park, that contract finally got signed, and that contractor came in, and in 2 weeks, that's basically done. It's dug, filled, asphalt is poured, and they just have to let it cure for a month before they can paint it. So it's still not quite finished, but in 2 weeks' time, they got a lot done. And so
that's awesome.
Digging up that entire space versus, making a path along the highway doesn't seem any more challenging. Let's put it that way. So I'm hoping that whoever we get can also do this in a good, timely fashion. And I surely, we can't be in a position to have to return this grant. And I don't think there's any extension possible for it that I'm aware of anyway. So, and after December wouldn't do us any good anyway, because then we'd really have to wait till spring. So it really has to get done. So I'm hoping that between Ed and Randall, we can keep the momentum going on this. I know they've been busy with the East Street Bridge and things like that, but that's kind of starting to move on its own, with some contractors coming in there too. So just lots of things that everybody's juggling, but I'm hoping those will move forward.
At least it's paid for. At least it will be paid for by, not just to Southampton, which will be nice.
Right, exactly. So let me just show you one thing. I just wanted to bring up, yeah, I lost it here. Where'd it go? Oh dear now. Okay, well, I'll do this one. So this is our hazard mitigation plan, which if you'd like, I'll forward it to you guys in case you want to actually read through it. It was done back in 2016 and adopted by the board, select board then. And PVPC helped out and did this last time. And this is both, I believe, it's a FEMA grant, but managed through the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. So it's a FEMA grant managed by MEMA normally. This is how this one got done. And I think that's the same notion with this BRIC grant that we're talking about. And so some of the folks that were there before, John Workman and Randall, are obviously still there. And I would hope that they would be part of this planning process. And so as we get around to doing any kind of an application, I definitely would want to have them involved in this. But I just wanted to share with you for now just the table of contents so you can see the kind of extensive things that had been looked at and talked about. So they obviously had some different committee meetings, public meetings, various stakeholders obviously had been identified, and then they took a look at possible risks in section 3 and how serious a risk any of those might be in Southampton. And then they kept on moving with emergency responses and special vulnerable populations in town, what our current capabilities are, etc. So it's a pretty lengthy document. It's about 100 pages. And so what we need to do is update this. This has got to be updated every so often, and ours is due up to be done. So this expires right now in January, which is fine. It still gives us a little bit of time to do something, but it's definitely something that needs to get done. Okay. So
Is
if
this
you,
something we need to do to be able to be eligible for MVP funding?
probably it's got to be done for the brick funding, which is where I think we would use this first. I think we'd try the brick grant. I need to something up as we
I
speak.
think that I remember somebody saying during one of the workshops that you have to have a current disaster plan in order to be eligible for funding.
You do. That definitely is for the brick grant, which I'm going to pull up. I just got across my screen 10 minutes ago here. The Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program request for responses open again. Okay, it's just opening up. And this one is going to be applications accepted on a rolling basis until January 7th. Okay, so that's another one. I'll share the link with you guys. This literally just popped up on my screen, so I haven't seen what that's going to be about, and whether between the MVP or the brick grant, which one is more appropriate. I think I had understood that the brick grant would be okay for the hazard update, the plan update, and then the MVP could be used for some other kind of project. But we would definitely get that clear before we go too far down any rabbit hole here. Where did that thing go now? I thought I just had it. Here it is. So let me just share this for a minute. Why is that sharing? Are you sharing that? Can you see that? No.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
I don't know why it's at the bottom of my screen here. What's happening? What are you doing? Come on. Why are you doing this? I don't know. Oops. Okay, hold on a minute. Not sure what's happening here. Need to make it bigger here somewhere. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is just open, it's opening up tomorrow, actually. So this is the Building Resilience Infrastructure and Communities Grants that's just getting open. So this is just kind of the fact sheet, and I just highlighted a few things that this kind of covers. One of the things that I don't know what's happening. I know Planning Board is looking at doing some of they're revising some of their bylaws. I don't know how that ties into building codes and things like that, but it may be that, you know, we need somebody from Planning Board involved in this too, in case they have anything to do with their planning bylaws or zoning, probably not zoning so much, but building codes kinds of things, or the building inspector himself, we might need to include in this. But obviously involved in climate resilience and adaptation to crises, kinds of things. There's apparently some non-financial technical assistance. So there's more communities this year that are going to be eligible to take part in whatever this non-financial technical assistance is. So that's possibly a good thing that would help us. And don't get excited about the $1 billion and all that, because that really doesn't apply to all of us. There's all sorts of state allocations. So every state is allocated about $1 million for these kinds of efforts. And I'm just going to scroll down to where I highlighted here, because we're actually going to be like a sub-grantee as a local community. So there is a cost sharing program. And from what I'm understanding here, it's basically a 75% federal program and 25% non-federal. So some of that is obviously, it says up here, enemy cash or in kind or materials or a combination thereof. So this is not one that we would have to go to CPC on, from what I understand whatsoever. So the application opens tomorrow. Now, these, we've got to use their magical online program to apply. And I haven't, because it's not technically open yet, I can't go in. I thought I would go in tomorrow and see if I can pull out, like usual, just the basic skeleton of what the application, you know, looks like, if we can pull it out in a Word format so we could actually be working in something. Hopefully that's a possibility. But this is supposed to be their their online application system. And this goes for quite a while. So this goes until January 28th. So we've got time, but I'm assuming, given the length of the report, that the length of the application is going to be also pretty long.
So just to understand, there's two grants then, because the other one you said was due and applications are accepted until January 7th. So is that the MVP
That's
grant?
the MVP. That's the MVP.
Okay,
one.
MVP is due January 7th. The BRIC grant is due on the 20th. Sorry, I'm just taking notes. I want to make sure I understand.
Yep, that's what it does look like. Yep,
Okay,
exactly.
got it.
So they both kind of open up around the same time, but both January, but a little bit different dates. Yep. So this one, if you get it in the application stage and in there by January, you don't even know about anything until the summer. And then whenever it's actually awarded, there's 3 years from that date to complete it, which for an updated plan, that sounds like a long time compared to like if this was a real physical project. So I'm not sure if there's a difference, once we get into the application details a little bit more. The main thing here, and this is what you were talking about, Kate, to even be eligible, FEMA will require its applicants and sub-applicants to have a current FEMA approved hazard mitigation plan at the time of award. So that's why we do need to basically apply, because we still have the approved award plan rather. So while this is still an approved plan, before it expires in January, that makes us, need to be, it makes us eligible to apply. Let's put it that way. We would be a sub-applicant as a local government. The other thing is, because of the Stafford Act requirement here, a state or a territory. So a state must have received a major disaster declaration under the Stafford Act in 7 years prior to the annual grant application period start date. So this is not the town, but it's at the state level. And this, I actually have some information on. When we first started this committee, I think it was really just about, I'm thinking it was November that we started, and this grant was, well, like one of the first things that popped up on our screen. And so we had gone back and looked at, I think Charlie Kanicki helped out with looking at a listing of the various declarations that had been declared at the state level in terms of snowstorms and tornadoes and whatever else. And so we definitely already have that major disaster declarations part done, but that's more required at the state level, but it's not something we can't answer. So that's already there. So we, as far as I see, we're definitely eligible to apply for this. So this still is about all they're talking about this non-financial technical assistance. So I'm not quite sure here on that. Hopefully, I mean, I don't know that it really means, I mean, I guess it could be that we could build in, maybe we could build in some technical assistance into the grant application, to help maybe develop the plan. I mean, I don't know.
I think that we could add, I mean, that seems like it would be a good question. I wonder if there's someone we could ask that question, but you would think that technical assistance in writing a plan would make you more resilient against disasters, right?
Right, yeah. So there's all sorts of, various, resources here to look at, but this is just pulled from the state website for BRIC. So if you just went into, mass.gov BRIC, this would pull up. So this was just what they call the NOFO, which is the Notice of Funding Opportunity. So that's kind of what we know at this point in time. So there's nothing been said yet about a webinar or anything like that, but I'll keep an eye out for that. I would assume that would be something that would be there, but I don't have any information about that as of yet. So that's kind of where we are. But if you want, I will forward, if you'd like the hazard mitigation plan just to look through, I'll pass it to you, or not, or I'll just leave it. We can put it in our Google Drive area if you want it there, rather than having it in your inbox. That's fine too.
Is that the so there were last month, I think it was in August, the MEMA webinars, because I remember putting it on the spreadsheet. So is this separate? Is this the FEMA, or is BRIC completely different?
No, it could be what you're talking about, because this is, the way I understand it, BRIC is actually a federal program, but devolved down to the states. So devolved down to, in our case, MEMA. The
So there were
Massachusetts.
some recordings, I think maybe not,
Okay.
maybe they're old recordings for
Yeah,
the FEMA hazard mitigation assistance.
Okay, I didn't see much on the BRIC website, and I just wanted to stay with the BRIC one because they've got a lot of the FY20 stuff there.
Oh, but
Right.
this is 2021.
I did not see stuff for 2021 except this, and technically we're in fiscal 22, so it's a little confusing, but this is, because it does give the September and January dates, I'm relatively comfortable that I got the right fact sheet, but that's about all we have right now. So I'm assuming there's going to be more populated, maybe even in the next day or so as this really fully opens on Monday. And surely, whatever they've had for webinars will have been recorded someplace. So I'm thinking that that's not a big deal. So that's kind of what's ahead of us. And I think we need to figure out, the Randalls and the John Workmans. John is our emergency management director now. So the two of them for sure need to be involved with helping us on the application part. So I will let them know that this is coming up and that we would like their input as we get rolling on this. But I want to be able to see if we can get in first and at least get a Word version of the application so we know what we're facing. I doubt that we have a copy of the previous application. I'd be surprised if we do, because we could ask PVPC because they're the ones that put it together. So they might have it. You never know. That's a possibility. So that's kind of where we stand with any of that. Now let me just look at one thing here, because let me see if I can pull this up while we're talking, because this municipal vulnerability one just came up, and this, again, I was not part of the MVP planning process, but that apparently, let's see here, hold on. So let me just show this. I don't know if this will let me do this or not, but let me try to share the email that just popped up here. Where'd it go? Okay, so this is what just popped up on my screen just now. So the application is reopened for FY22. So state-trained MVP providers offer technical assistance to communities in completing the assessment and resiliency plans. Become certified. Okay, so once you've done so I believe we've done the planning grant program. I think that's what we've gone through. So we are eligible to become certified as an MVP community and eligible for grant funding, I believe, here. So let's see if they'll let me get in here. I don't know if they will. Let's just try that. Magic. It doesn't say a whole lot, of course. Just talks about, so this is what happens when they post grants out on Combis. This is the big government website here where everything gets posted. So nothing new there that we can see. Yeah, it's just an overview basically of that. So that doesn't help us. Yeah, I'll stop that one. So that part doesn't help us, but and of course I lost the other one again. Hold on a minute. I'm sorry. So anyway, this goes till January 7th. And then so this, gosh, come on now. The screen is just not behaving here. Come on. Okay. So what we need to understand, and I was not part of this, so I need to just double check with Ed, but my understanding is we've gone through the planning grant process for the MVP. So we are eligible now to think about applying for the actual project related to municipal vulnerability, and how that may be different from the hazard mitigation plan. I'm not totally positive on this, but this is just some good reading material that we can take a look at. And then
I
there's
think it
obviously,
would be helpful to see their actual final draft. So they had two people that were taking notes, and from that planning session, they were generating a report or something, because we went to the presentation and there was an opportunity for public input, but I don't know that we ever saw the final
okay,
outcome, because they said that the projects that would be eligible for this MVP planning or preparedness had to be reflected in the suggestions made from public comment and the plan that was developed in the public comment section, or public answering. I think you might have been there, Chris. Or
maybe.
listened in, but I think that it would be great to see their final version of that.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
kind of like a wrap up.
Yep. Okay. All right. So let me do some homework. I will look for where that is. I don't know that I've seen it posted on our website though. But I'll double check with Ed on that. And how about in the next day or two, I'll send you both the link to the MVP plan that we have, as well as the hazard mitigation plan, and just to get a sense of what it looks like. And then once the application portal's open, we'll see if we can get in and get a Word version of both the applications, so we can understand the level of detail that's going to be needed on these. Obviously we've got some time, but nonetheless, I think there'll be probably, a lengthy application, I would guess, and we're going to need other people's input. So there would have to be some committee formed as well on the hazard mitigation plan update, not just us. I mean, it would be probably Randall and John, but they would need to have a couple more people as well, to form a committee to focus on that. Okay. So again, not much more that we can really do today, but I just wanted to bring these out. These are at least more information than we had about what's coming up. So I think these will be the next ones along our radar, in addition to the community compact IT grant. Okay. So any thoughts, questions about that? Anything else that's you've run across anywhere on other grant things? We probably do need to go back in and just take a look at our spreadsheet next time and make sure we're not, or if you look at it ahead of time, just shoot a message out saying, whoops, we're going to miss a deadline on something else. But I don't recall anything else quite as important as these anyway that we're coming up. I think the new Mass Trails grant is open, which I think we're not going to apply for. And a land grant, again, that's a heck of a lot of work. And I know that would have to be initiated by somebody in town who would want one, whether that's parks or open space or anybody else who's looking to actually purchase land. I think that's up to them to let us know if there's something in their view that they want to look at, but I have not heard of anything at this point in time. And I know open space is meeting this week, right, Diana? So they
Yeah,
haven't.
tomorrow, yeah.
they
As
haven't
far
met
as
for a
I
while.
know, I mean, I know there've been some meetings with landowners and there's some
Right,
hopeful stuff, but no one has
right,
really said anything.
yeah,
Nothing definite. We're having an awful lot of trouble with the Manhan Meadows Phase 1 thing. I don't even
Mhm.
know. We may end up giving that grant back.
Hmm.
Nothing happens.
So Kane is not being responsive on this at all?
I don't know. I kind of had just had to step away because there doesn't seem to be anything I can
Yeah.
do
Well, it
between
seems,
Kane and the
yeah,
NOI and Marla and
yeah. Well, it seems to be that, the contractor and the environmental person need
right.
to be the two that, the
Yeah.
two of them need to get on the same page and figure out what there is. I mean, they're the ones that really that need to
Yeah.
lead this process. And so
And
hopefully
as
they're,
far as I know, not much is going on. And I
Mhm.
think we're gonna run into the wood turtle deadline. And
Okay.
yeah, I just kind of have thrown my hands up about that one.
Huh.
I feel bad, but when I ask, there's no movement. So
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'll do a little digging on that one myself too and see if I can find out anything.
Yeah.
The only
So-
other two that I see that are like we're kind of bigger with the hazard mitigation assistance grant, which was about stormwater upgrades, culvert improvements. So that opened in August. I wonder when the end on that is. And then
No.
the flood mitigation assistance was the other one through FEMA.
Yeah. No, and neither one of those. I think we had asked Randall about the culvert one, and that was one that he didn't want to deal with. So, no, I
Well,
think.
then there
I
you
think,
go.
Yeah, I think neither of those were
I could kind
anything.
of like run past you. One thing on open space is this pollinator garden on the Pomeroy Meadow.
Yep.
The thing, and now the quote, it went from 2,500 to 5,000 is the estimated thing, and
What are they buying?
they would do paving and, oh my God,
Why?
paving, and there'd be paving around the outside of it and a path to the sidewalk, I think, 2 benches, and then the plants. Yeah. And he just said he'd go, this is the person on open space who's kind of like orchestrating this, said he would go to CPC, but I kind of thought, I wonder if we should try to get a grant for that. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is obviously gone much bigger than I ever knew that it might. I mean, Cindy and
Yeah.
I looked at that space 2 years ago and
Right.
know,
It seems,
had
it
kind
seems
of outlined a
pricey to
space.
me,
Yeah,
but yeah.
yeah, kind of outlined a space alongside the woods where it could be, but not to be a big fancy super duper garden. Okay, so that's.
I don't even know that it's gonna be that big, but also maybe have some signs to explain about
Sure.
pollinator and
Yeah,
stuff.
but I'd be surprised about paving a walkway there. I think that's supposed to be left pretty open
I thought so too. Pretty
as part of the
permeable.
watershed.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised at that one. So I don't know. Okay, well, yeah, I would hope something would happen
Thought
there.
I'd
So,
throw that out there. One
Okay.
other thing I was thinking, I just thought I'd mention because I will forget it if I don't, but a friend just showed me some pictures of a playground. And there are swings that when an older child swings in it, it activates a baby swing. They're somehow connected. I thought, what a good idea,
Mhm,
for somebody, for a parent who's dealing with more than one child. And
right.
so I'm just putting that down for
Okay. All right.
child activated baby swings.
There you go. Well, you had said too, and I think, even though we're not on the Parks Commission, I think, the fact that you've gone out and visited some parks and have some ideas of things that you've seen, I mean,
Yeah.
just make a little bit of a bullet list or something there, because I think we can certainly, put that over to parks and let them do some investigation of it. There's a couple of, local parks that, we know that have been recommended that, get visited to take a look at their playground equipment and stuff. And I know Dan's seen a couple too, and I've been out to a couple as well. So, I mean, I think if the more that we can kind of give them some information, the playground equipment is got to happen at some point in time. It's just
Down
a
the
matter.
road. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
it's
some
just-
catalogs. What
do?
if just as an idea, because it does seem like we have a lot of good ideas and I don't want them to get forgotten. What if we just made a shared Google document that's not formal or anything, but even if we just put down activated baby swing.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm happy to send that out just because I have some pictures and things I've saved from my park travels, and I'm sure we
Okay.
all have a lot of good collaborative ideas.
Okay. Sure. No, that'd be fine. Yeah, let's do it. And then we can, at least give it to them to consider, and, they can do their own investigating, but just some thoughts. And, I think anything that's more, accessible and just, more modern technology compared to what we have. So I think a lot of the new park designs probably are just amazing in terms of what they do these days. So that'd be great. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any other particular business. Does anybody else have anything that you're aware of? And if not, I think, shall we? I wish I knew for sure that we would have something from IT next week. I guess I'm.
You're on the 4th. I think we should schedule, since that meeting deadline is the
15th.
15th. What if we met on October 6th, just because that'll give us, if we need to have a meeting the week later, we'll still be able to do that. But that's like,
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm going to help my dad.
Okay.
could we do that? I just feel like pushing it to the next week is going to be cutting it kind of close.
Yep. I guess I'm going to suggest, I don't know about this. It's confusing to me when they are meeting. I mean, they don't usually meet on Monday. They were talking about possibly doing that, but they usually meet on a Wednesday, and it's a Wednesday night. So if perchance they're not meeting until the 6th in the evening, us meeting in the afternoon, for example, won't do any good again. How about if we hold off until like the 7th, which is a Thursday? Does that work for you, Kate? I know. So Diana, you're gone for like a week or something, or?
I'm gone from October 5th to the 11th.
Okay. Well, we'll still get you at the end.
Yeah.
I could do it. I could do the 7th.
Okay, let's tentatively say the 7th in the afternoon, and that will give the tech committee at least 2 chances to meet, hopefully, before us, and have something ready for us to look at, I guess would be my hope, so that we don't, spin our wheels on things. Okay.
I'm actually just sending a message to Dave to see if they're actually meeting on the 4th. But
Yeah.
So you said the 7th at 2:30?
Yeah, the 7th at 2:30. I'll set up a meeting on that, and if we have to change it, we can. But I think that would be, an optimal time, assuming that they're ready, and then we can, I always want to get stuff in ahead of time, so I'm not going to wait till the 15th. I mean, I want to give us a couple of days ahead of time to get it in. So. And if Diana's back on the 11th, then we'll have a couple of days to review it and go from there. But I think that works time-wise from what I can tell right now. Okay.
Okay.
Great. All right. So with that in mind, how about a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 3:22.
All right.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Great, guys. Thanks for your time. And I imagine we'll have a little bit more work to do as we move forward on these grants, but that's okay. We need some time just to get organized now too. So we really do want to let the others take the lead on things and, let us help out where we can. But
it's also good to bask in the glory of our recent successes as well.
Yeah, well, and boy, I sure don't want to fail on this community compact IT one. So
That'll be great.
I want to let them take the tech lead for sure on that, and we'll see where we go with it if they even need that much from us. But I know Kim Florick has done a couple of these before, so she's got experience with it too. So sounds great. All right. Well, thank you, Maya, very much, and we will catch up with you in a week. And Diana, safe travels.
Thank you.
Hope all goes well. All right.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.